I forgot to tell you, we got Erik Erlendsson at 10:15. Erik. All right, welcome into another edition of the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by Emerging Investigations, Emerging IMD, Tampa Bay's #1 private investigation agency, and the Chiefs Law Group. Man, after another day to just marinate on this ugly loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers, it doesn't look any prettier. After looking at the All-22 last night and man, rewatching the game, I'm more pissed off today than I was yesterday. And because the mistake level, the mental mistake level, and how bad Tom Brady is playing, and certainly played in this game, is so very, very bad. So very, very bad. We're going to get into Brady's podcast from last night as well. It's a podcast where we get a few more actual answers as to what's going on. Brady's not going to throw anybody under the bus, and certainly is not pointing a finger at him. Well, I guess when he says we, he means himself. I would probably like to hear a little bit more, maybe a couple from his own mouth about himself than maybe everybody else. But that's certainly not coming. Welcome into the show. We got another great show for you today. We got a lot of great voices that you're going to hear today on the show. On Tuesdays, we always have Scott Reynolds and TJ Rives, two guys that have been covering this team for over 27 years. So great insight coming your way. I know Scott Reynolds was in the press conference yesterday with Todd Bowles and asked some very pointed questions of Todd Bowles. And the Bowles press conference yesterday I thought was very illuminating. We're going to play some of that as well. So we'll talk to Scott Reynolds at 10:30 and then TJ Rives at 11:15. Also joining us this morning at 10:15 will be Erik Erlendsson, as it is opening night for your Tampa Bay Lightning. I was at rehearsals yesterday. And we got a great show for you tonight, folks. So be in your seats early. It's by 7 o'clock. Have your food and bevies and all that good stuff and ready to go. Got some great retrospective videos that we produced. Some great behind-the-scenes stuff. It's going to be a show tonight for opening night. Let's hope the guys play to their capabilities.
Let's hope we can beat some team in the state of Pennsylvania.
Yes.
Please. I'm tired of that state getting over on us here.
Yes. The Flyers, I mean.
Torch back in the building.
I know. That's going to be fun.
Yeah, it should be fun atmosphere. You know what? I can't go tonight, damn it.
Yeah.
I can't.
Tickets are expensive.
I know. I'm off today, but I can't go.
Your tickets are expensive for tonight's opening up. But that's the way it should be. This is a team that's been to the finals 3 years in a row. It's an event. It's opening night. The Flyers, Torch is in town. Yeah, all that good stuff. So we're going to have some fun tonight. We'll talk to Erik Erlendsson at 10:15. So I want to get into this Brady stuff right away. I was watching Get Up this morning, and, think about this. In terms of national stories, they have so much that they can start with each and every day. And, obviously Brady is a flashpoint. It moves the needle. But in the 9 o'clock hour, they probably spent 10 to 15 minutes just going over Brady and the wedding, the red wedding, as we may be calling it here. If you're a Game of Thrones fan, because this may be the moment that either illuminates what's wrong with this team or forces them to rededicate themselves. And again, I said it yesterday that I thought Tom Brady should come out publicly and do a mea culpa about Brady. He did not. He did not on his show. He did not mention, as far as I didn't listen to the entire podcast, but I did not hear any mention of it whatsoever. As he was talking about execution, and we need to put more time in and to get down the details and everything else.
The only thing, it was completely at the end before they signed off. Jim Gray was like, "You got any weddings to go to this week?" And Brady kind of chuckled and was like, "Nothing on the calendar yet, but we'll see." And that was the only mention.
Am I the only one that just finds this egregious? I really, and Jeff Saturday said it today. He said, who played with Peyton Manning for a long time. He said, there ain't no way Peyton Manning would ever have done that. No way. Not in the middle of the season. And Todd Bowles can sit there and say he didn't miss any meetings. Yeah, he did. He missed the walkthrough. He missed the walkthrough and meetings on Saturday morning that take place. Everybody meets early in the morning on Saturday. They do the walkthrough. They do the meetings. They all get on the plane together. They fly up. They're on their iPads. They're talking. They're going over a lot of details. You can't tell me that's not important time in preparation. I'm sorry. It's the day before the game. Everything you've done all week long is coming down into these meetings. You're going over them again. none of the, and actually there are some new things that come that coaches will put in on Saturday mornings. If they see something, they'll say, okay, we're gonna tweak this, we're gonna tweak that, maybe because of something that happened in practice, maybe your 2-point plays, maybe. I mean, you're talking about where are the details most important? In the red zone and third down, right? And we detailed yesterday the numbers. They're ridiculously bad for the offense. They're bottom third of the league in every category. Whereas with Bruce Arians, they were number 1 in red zone and number 3 in red zone the last couple of years. When the details are most needed in the red zone, where the nuances are most important, that's where this Bucs team is failing tremendously. Why is that? And you go, it's because, to me, it's because lack of attention to detail, lack of attention to the absolute minute things. And those are things that are taken care of in the last days, the last moments of everything. Every moment, and Tom Brady has been the king of saying this, every moment that you can put in to get better and get prepared for that game is an important moment. And you could have gone to the wedding on Friday night, flown back Saturday, late Friday, leave the wedding by 11, get to sleep on your own private plane all the way home. You can have a full bed if you want. Get home. Hell, you can land the damn plane 2 minutes from your house on Davis Island. Have somebody, you don't even have to wake up. They can wheel you to your bed. And then you're up with your team in the morning going. And you decided not to do that. You decided not to do that. Why? Why did you not do that? Why, would you have ever done it before? Belichick was invited to the wedding. He said, no, too much to do. Of course there's too much to do. It's a freaking NFL game weekend. No, I'm not giving him a pass. I'll never give him a pass for this. This is not Tom Brady-like. He's never done it before. Why is he doing it now? And then you go back and you look at the situation of how this has all come to be. All right, let's go back to the retirement or the end of the season when he was all pissed off about the offense. Then we go to the Super Bowl, and I'm at the Super Bowl. Everybody's coming up to me and saying, oh, Brady's pissed at Arians. He doesn't like the way that Arians gets involved in the offense. We have Solomon Wilcots came on my show and said, this is what everybody's talking about. I'm like, okay, there's nothing here. Certainly here. Is there fire? And then we hear about retirement. Then we subsequently find out that this retirement was not more than a scheme to get out of his contract in Tampa Bay. So he could go to Miami and build the house there, and the kids, everybody moved to Miami. That's what Giselle wanted. Clearly, she's talked about that. So, and then when the Bucs called his bluff and didn't let him out his contract, he had to switch gears, come back here, try to get the band back together, which obviously the organization opened up the checkbook, did everything. Whatever you want, Tom. Whatever you want, Tom. Whatever you want, Tom. Sure, you want this, you want that, you want that. Sure, you want to do this. Yeah, whatever you want, Tom. Whatever you want, Tom. Oh, by the way, I got to go to a wedding on game weekend. What? I mean, there comes a time when you gotta. This is, there is the goat in the room, the elephant in the room. What you got to call a spade a spade. This guy is not committed, not like he certainly has been, which has been his calling card his entire career. And when you go yell at somebody on the sideline, and you're ripping into him publicly, what's the first thing that's going to come up in the head? Where the hell are you at the walkthrough? Maybe we could have gone over this at the walkthrough on Saturday morning. You lose all your credibility as a leader. Could you ever imagine anybody saying that about Tom Brady? No. But can you ever imagine Tom Brady leaving the team the weekend on a game weekend? No. You couldn't imagine. He's doing things he's never done before. So we have to judge him in a different way. If any other quarterback did this, we'd be going, what the hell are you doing? Well, it's Tom Brady. No, it's not okay. Just like Tom Brady said in his podcast last night, every year is different. Every team is different. Every week is different. What you've done before has no bearing on what you're going to do the next game. So why are you taking this time away from your team at a critical time? I'm sorry. And like everybody on Get Up said, those guys played in the league. Those guys played in the league, and everybody wants to brush this under the rug and say, oh, it's the GOAT. Nobody cares. It's all fine in the locker room. I say bullcrap. Bullcrap. It's not fine, and everybody knows it. And he in the way and this morning, Dominique Foxworth said, listen, he needs to apologize to the team. He needs to apologize. I think he needs to do it publicly and say, this is on me. And I haven't heard him take it. I haven't heard him take personal blame for any of this stuff. It's always we need to do this, we need to do this, which is fine. But he also needs to call out himself, in my opinion, and reset this entire season, because the way I look at it, if I'm on his team, I say, well, this guy tried to leave us in the offseason, tried to scheme his way out of here. Now he's giving us a half-ass effort. He's playing like crap. Turn on the tape. He's missing throws. He's not getting to his second read. If you're his teammate, you're like, yo, bro, go look in the mirror. And when you have a situation like that on a team, you know what you see? You see a team that doesn't play close to their potential. What did you see on Sunday? And what did you see the previous Sunday against Atlanta? A team that's not playing close to its potential. And that goes to leadership. And it's not just on Tom Brady, it's on Todd Bowles. And I forget who it was on Get Up. I think it was Jeff Saturday, or maybe Marcus Spears, who said, you think Todd Bowles is on board with this? You think Todd Bowles likes Brady going to weddings? Think Todd Bowles was okay with the 11 days off when it's his show now? So, you're going to give me the keys to the castle here. You're going to give me Tom Brady, but this ain't the Tom Brady you guys got. This guy's going to weddings and taking 11 days off in training camp. Yeah, you gave me the Maserati, but somebody took the freaking engine out. But what good is it? It looks good, and everybody expects me to win, but now I got a quarterback that's not in. And he can't publicly say anything, obviously. He's being a good soldier. But I agree with Marcus Spears. Bowles can't be on board with this crap. No way.
Well, here's the thing. As I've sat on it a little bit and I've heard from other voices like you have, I've come to I don't really have a problem necessarily with the wedding part. I have more of a problem with you not coming back the following day. I think that's where it lands with me. And, Sean Payton, he was on Colin Cowherd's show yesterday. And Colin's been brushing this off. He's one of the few media members that is not bothered by it. Sean Payton said
he has business dealings with Tom Brady.
They're about to be.
Colin Cowherd I used to be one of my favorite. He is so compromised. His opinion has totally changed by who he works and who he works for.
I like Colin.
I've always liked him. I've liked his honesty. I've liked his creativity. It's not that way anymore. He's completely beholden to his employers and his business dealings. He has no credibility with me whatsoever anymore.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, Sean Payton was on there. I think he's got some credibility.
Yes, he does.
And Sean Payton kind of said the same thing. Like, he was surprised that he didn't come back for the Saturday thing. And that's kind of, uncharacteristic. And because of taking days off in the training camp and all that, which wasn't really a big deal at the time, now these questions are being asked. And when you go out there, and like I said, and Sean Payton said, when you go out there and lay an egg against an opponent that you should have imposed your will on, that's why it's a story now.
Exactly.
And that's why we're talking about it. So I think it's a valid thing. Now, does everything that happened in that game because he went to a wedding? Absolutely not. No. I think these two things can both be true. The team was awful. There are many things to point to, and we will get to it after we watch the All-22. Don't get me wrong here. But you are questioning a little bit of what's going on there in his head. And listen, we've talked about it. He's got personal crisis going on. We don't know everything really that's going on in his life. There's a lot of moving parts. He's got business ventures here and there and yesterwhere. It's not what we want as football fans of this team. We want him to be 100% Bucs, and maybe he is. But unfortunately, when you're 3-3 and the signs keep coming out, it just comes off like you're not.
Exactly.
I go back to perception is reality. So I think that's where they are now. And Sean Payton said, if he had to take care of business while he was up there in New York City, again, like there was the rumors that he was with his son or whatever, that's between him and Todd then.
Yeah.
And then that's a decision for Todd to make. And I think it's a valid thing. Would Bruce have been like, oh, it's fine, go right ahead?
Maybe.
Maybe. But I don't know.
I don't know. I know this. He didn't do it while Bruce was here. And maybe, Kraft didn't have a wedding, but I'm sure there were other personal things that he could have taken care of. It's just, I think it is affecting this team. I think it's affecting the team as a whole. It's not, obviously there are other parts of this equation. You got issues with offensive line, clearly. I mean, watching the tape, it's just clear as day. And I think one of the big problems is from a standpoint, you looked at it at the second series when Godwin, I think they had a 3rd and 7. Godwin was coming over the middle. A great play action, holds the linebackers, and is a huge hole to throw it into. And Perriman runs a wrong route behind Godwin. At least I think one of them was wrong because they're both in the same area. So Brady double hitches a little bit. And when he goes to throw it the second time, there's a player escaping Shaq Mason, and he's coming more towards his legs. And Brady will not step into a throw where there's anybody near his legs anymore. He won't do it. And when he pulls back, where does that ball go? It goes down. So a lot of low throws. And when you're not stepping into the ball and you're throwing it like this, if you're watching on TV, that ball is going to spike. And we saw that a lot. You look at Brady and you break him down as just a quarterback. You see a guy who's not getting to his second reads enough, which has always been his hallmark, not missing open guys, which has always been his hallmark. His accuracy is way down, especially the last few weeks. Maybe that's the injury. I think it's more about his mechanics not wanting to get hit. He doesn't want to get hit. He can't move. When he becomes a liability in terms of his mind and he's not getting into his second and third receiver, he's an average quarterback. And he can't be average for this team, not the way it's set up. He has to be Tom Brady, and he's not. He's just not. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll switch gears and talk a little hockey with Erik Erlendsson, Double E's Lightning Insider. That's opening night for the Lightning tonight, and they have started not well at all. But obviously these things are very fixable, and it's very early. So we'll talk about it all with the great Erik Erlendsson when we come back. We're brought to you by Emerging Investigations and the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. Stay with a quick break. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group. I've known Scott Jeeves for quite some time, and he's just like us, a huge college football fan. He loves his Gators. In fact, he sponsors our Gator Report every Thursday at 11 o'clock with Scott Carter from FloridaGators.com. But he's not just another PI attorney. He is a ferocious advocate for his clients. Scott Jeeves is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator practicing in Tampa Bay for over 30 years. He is an AV preeminent rated civil trial lawyer and certified circuit court mediator. Folks, these designations are not just given out. They're given only to the best trial attorneys. But more than anything, Scott takes these cases personally. I've heard it from his clients. He's a fighter. For $29.29 or go to JeevesLawGroup.com. That's JEEVES lawgroup.com and tell them JP sent you.
Guys, let me tell you about Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Are you experiencing low sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, and you just don't feel like you have the vitality you once had? You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well. Do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability. Not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling.
Military veterans, are you struggling with alcoholism or substance abuse? Is it taking a toll on your relationships and your work life? Are you having trouble focusing, constantly anxious? Well, you may not be surprised to know that your fellow military vets have your six. Heroes Mile is a new concept in rehabilitation clinics, veterans helping veterans. At Heroes Mile, we staff our call 888-VET-NOW-2. Attention, if you are home shopping or looking for a refinance, and even if you already have the approval letter, you must call my man Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Scott has a brand new program available
in the greater Tampa Bay area called the Community Advantage Loan Program. Get this, no money down, no mortgage insurance, no points, no origination fee, purchase or refinance, and loan amounts up to $647,000. Now, there are some application requirements. It must be a single-family home, 1 unit, primary residence, and have a minimum 640 credit score. The program only applies to certain neighborhoods, so you have to call to find out if you qualify. So call Scott Fitzgerald at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Now, even if you don't qualify for that program, Scott will shop your loan around, get you the best rates, and won't charge you the huge upfront fees. And if you've had issues with your bank calling you back, Scott will return calls immediately or at least the same day. 813-294-7595 or email him, scott@amstampa.com. Scott Fitzgerald, MLS 386722, American Mortgage Services, 1000 North Ashland Drive, Suite 1020, Tampa, Florida.
Coming back at you.
Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports. It's only just begun.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by Emerging Investigations at emerginginv.com. If you have issues with your spouse, going through a divorce, or have maybe a missing person or something where you need a private investigator or don't know where to turn or don't know what the process is all about, it's real easy. Just make the call. Go to emerginginv.com, get their contact information right there. You can send them an email to call you back, or just give them a ring, and Rachel will answer the phone, and she will talk you through the entire process, what they need to do, and how much it's going to cost. They'll have to ballpark it for you, and you can just figure it out from there. I know there's a lot of things that swirl around in your head when issues like this pop up, but don't try to take matters into your own hands and do snooping around on social media. Let the professionals handle it and get reliable information for life's biggest decisions. It's Emerging Investigations, emerginginv.com. All right, let's bring in our good friend Erik Erlendsson, lightninginsider.com, and coloring the bolts for about 2+ decades here. What's up, Double E's? How are you, my friend?
Happy opening day. Well, happy home opener.
Home
JP,
opener.
what's going on?
That's right. Are you at the morning skate this morning?
Getting ready to walk in the building in a couple minutes.
There you go. So, it's been a kind of an inauspicious start for the lads. The fourth period has really kind of become not so good for them. I think a -4 differentials. It showed up certainly against the Pens, where they give up 4. But is that kind of a residue of the way they're playing, chasing the puck, not winning faceoffs, not having possession?
Faceoffs are a part of it. There's no doubt. When you're sitting at 34% through 3 games, it's never good territory to be in.
Yikes.
Something I actually wrote about today in ways that they feel they can improve it and get better at, including quote unquote cheating a little bit more in the circle.
Yes.
The other one, and like this is them. This is them. When they don't manage the puck well, they don't play well. It's as simple as that. And I think that's what we've seen here in the first 3 games, even the first period of the game against Columbus, where they just don't manage the puck well enough to put themselves in position to take advantage of who they are. And every year's new. Every year you're looking for an identity for your team. It's going to take a while to get there. They got some new players integrated in. So it's going to be a work in progress, I think, here in the early stages of the season. And I think it's exactly how it's played out so far.
Yeah. And how about the line combinations? I mean, obviously Cooper's been notorious, or I don't know, infamous, whatever you want to call it, for mixing up the lines more than most coaches do. It's been obviously very effective. The record speaks for itself. But I think we're going to see a jumbling of lines throughout the entire first few months. Just give me your thoughts on who you think plays best with who, what Cooper's trying to find out. How do you see it playing out?
Well, first and foremost, I think to try and find out who Brandon Hagel is. Where does he fit the best?
Yeah.
I think when they acquired him, coming from Chicago, having played specifically on a line with Patrick Kane, is he a top 6 guy? Is he a middle 6 guy? Can he play with top players? We know he can. He played with Patrick Kane. He played Patrick Kane. He played with anybody. Is he the replacement for Andre Palat, which I think was something that was discussed quite a bit when he was acquired. If they lose Palat, which they ended up doing,
right,
is this the guy that can replace him? So they got to figure out where his game is at and where he's going to fit in best. Who plays with Steven Stamkos? No, you don't have Palat there anymore. So it's kind of made things a little bit different than trying to figure out who your top 2 lines are. And where does Vlad Nemestikov fit in too? Is he a center? Is he a wing? Can he? We saw in preseason and during camp he was playing with Kucherov and Stamkos. Something we saw when Vladdy was here before.
Yep.
So it is going to be a work in progress. There's no doubt. You have to find new synergy, new chemistry, whatever word you want to use for it. But, and I thought the same thing when camp got here. We're going to see a lot of these line combinations shuffle around to find out what fits and what doesn't.
And on defensively, how would you sort of evaluate through 3 games that third pairing of Philip Myers, Hayden Fleury, and I believe tonight likely Ian Cole slotting in there?
Yeah, Ian Cole's going to help, I think. He's got a ton of experience in this league. He plays some hard minutes. He's going to help the PK. The PK, I think, has struggled a little bit with the pairings and how things have worked out there. I think Myers and Fleury together were fine. They certainly weren't the problem with what was going on back there. And, for 2 new guys trying to fit into a new system and everything else, I thought they played well in the first 3 games. I think the team as a collective didn't. Obviously, that's why they sit here at 1 and 2. But I think those 2 guys, and look, it was a situation that was difficult to deal with because Cole had been working with Myers throughout camp, and all of a sudden 2 days before the start of the season, you got to throw in Hayden Fleury, who I don't think worked too much with Philippe Myers during the preseason and during camp. So it was a little bit of a jumble, and under those circumstances, I thought that third pairing did well, but. We'll see tonight. Cal Flip probably isn't going to play. We'll find out here the skate in a few minutes. But if that's the case, then it looks like Fleury is going to play the right side on that third pair of Ian Cole. And it looks like Philippe Myers is going to move up and play with Mikhail Sergachev, which will put Erik Erlendsson out there with Victor Hedman.
Erik Erlendsson joining us here, lightninginsider.com. Follow him on Twitter. Mikhail Sergachev, we talked a little bit about him last week, about the pressure that's being put on him to replace a lot of what Brian McDonough did. He's a different type of player. We know that, but he has a lot of offensive skill. Where do you see his game and how he's handling it so far 3 games into the season with the big contract and the new responsibilities?
Well, he's taken over some of McDonough's shot blocking, that's for sure.
Yep.
Something he learned, I think, from McDonough quite a bit, during their time together here. So he steps up, I think, in that area. His decision-making with the puck is an area he's going to have to improve on a more consistent basis. He has to understand the reads a little bit better. Again, we're still talking about a player who's 24 years old. He's got a ton of experience at this point, but he's still, 24, and he'll figure that out. He's too smart of a player not to figure all that stuff out.
Yeah.
But they're counting on him. He's a key cog in everything they want to do because of the role that he has to play now. He was kind of, I don't want to say comfortable, but he had kind of really developed a role the last couple of years where he played that third pair with whoever happened to be on the right side with him. But he would also go up and take shifts with Victor Hedman, especially late in games, on the right side. So now he's almost exclusively going to be on the left, and he has to figure all this out, on his own. He's not going to have a Hedman there, to kind of be his partner when he takes on some of those heavy minutes. He has to take on the responsibility right now.
I think the most positive thing I've seen from the 3 games is it looks like Steven Stamkos, the player we saw last year, seems to have translated over to this year. I think he's near the top of the league in goals through 3 games. And, in your years of covering him, do you think we are seeing, the most complete Steven Stamkos as he gets into his 30s? And obviously this year working with, a new line mate like Nick Paul.
Yeah, there's no doubt that this is the most well-rounded he's been in his career. Came into the league, obviously, as an 18, 19-year-old, hot shot scorer, 50, 60 goals his first couple of years in the league. He started to work on his faceoffs. Those have gotten better. He's been a consistent 52 to 55% guy over the last 5 or 6 years. I think it is understanding, how much defense is important, the sacrifice it takes, especially in crunch time, to make those plays. But he hasn't let it sacrifice his offense. 31 years old, 32 years old, coming off the best statistical season of his career, cracking that 100-point barrier, and doing it in a year where Nikita Kucherov missed 3 months, where Braden Point missed 6 weeks, right? So you don't have those other top offensive stars out there, and he had the best season of his career statistically without those 2 guys around for the most part. So, yeah, there's no doubt that he's probably playing the best all-around game of his career, and I'm really curious to see how quickly he starts to wrap up some goals because 500 is looming out there. He's at 485 right now. There's a lot of home games in November. I really like his chances of hitting that mark on home ice. He's creeping in on 1,000 points. He's creeping in on 500 assists. He's got a lot of milestones that he can check off the box this year.
Well, Erik, I'll get you out on this. Tonight's opponent is actually exactly who they would want on opening night, right? The Flyers come in here. The Lightning have won 10 straight regular season games against the Flyers. That's the second longest streak in the NHL. Only Boston over Arizona is more at 19. And a familiar face, their new coach, John Tortorella, your buddy and mine, coming in town, and I know there will likely be a speech very much like the one he gave his Columbus Blue Jackets when he was here for the playoffs. We don't need to rehash that, but he's going to tell them that these guys are soft. You can go out and beat them up and blah, 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 even though they're not. You know what's coming. This is going to be a physical game tonight, and Torts is going to try to get every ounce of physicality out of his team. What do you expect?
Yeah, there'll be emotion on Tampa Bay side, which probably plays right into John Tortorella's favor when it comes to kind of neutralizing that a little bit. He said many times when he was here how much he enjoyed, being on the road to start the season or being on the road to start a playoff series, because he felt that they gave the road team a little bit of an advantage because the home team is so hyped up. So there's no doubt they're going to try and take advantage of that here tonight. And look, Philadelphia is playing John Tortorella hockey already. Just 2 games in, they're blocking shots, they're getting into the lanes, they're playing good defensively. They're trying to make sure that Carter Hart does not see, a ton of rubber on his end. It's been a big problem with them the last couple of years was defensively. It should be a lot of fun. Only 2 home games this month for the Lightning. So, I think they're going to come out. I think they understand the road trip did not go as well. They're happy to be home, and I think that they're going to put on a show for the fans tonight.
I think you're right, my friend. Well, enjoy the hockey tonight. You can find Erik at lightninginsider.com. Let the folks know where they can find all your content. And I believe you got a radio show you're doing today as well, right?
Yeah. We're doing myself and Chief. It's called the Pregame Skate Show. We do it 1 hour before every game, road and away this year. You can find that on the Strike 102.5 HD Channel 2, as well as on TuneIn. Just search for Lightning Radio. 24/7, and the website lightninginsider.com. The first thing you see is how to sign up. There's 2 options available. There's a yearly plan and there's a monthly plan. And I'm still working on getting that code for the show next time I come on.
All right.
But for now, right now, you can use podcast to get $10 off the first year of a yearly subscription.
Really worth it too. If you're a Lightning fan, you got to be a subscriber to lightninginsider.com. Thank you, Double E's. Appreciate your time, buddy.
All right. See you tonight, JP.
Right, thanks. All right. We're getting ready to talk some Buccaneers here as well. We won't take a break because Scott Reynolds is ready to go. And we'll thank our sponsors for that. Italiano Insurance, Investigations, and Jeeves Law Group. Thank you, guys. We'll get to your spots in just a little bit, but Scott Reynolds is here to join us. Good morning, my friend. And Todd a little miffed at you yesterday for the very questions that you gave. You were on fire yesterday in the press conference.
Was I? Okay. All right.
I thought you were very on. I thought the entire media corps was on point yesterday. You asked the questions that needed to be asked. There's a lot of issues going on with this team right now, and I thought you guys got all over it yesterday. So well done. Well done.
Thank you. Well, just wait until my pointed questions for Byron Leftwich on Thursday, JP. You can say that.
I think you had some issues with some goal line calls.
I do. Yeah, I really do. Yes. I listen. I know enough about offense to where I'm dangerous. So I pride myself kind of being a defensive guy. I gravitate towards defensive football. Probably a good deal of that was kind of growing up covering this team in the 90s with Monty Kiffin and Warren Sapp, Derek Brooks, John Lynch, Randy Barber, and Simeon Rice, and all the greats. So those were the stars of the show, right? So aside from Mike Allstott, right, those were the stars of the show. So I really kind of grew up, if you will, covering defensive football. Also out of Kansas State too, with Bill Snyder with Kansas State. His first defensive coordinators were co-defensive coordinators, Bobby Stoops and Jim Levitt, when I was in school there. So I've been around some good football. I know enough about offense to where I'm dangerous, meaning when you're at the 1 foot line and it's 2nd and goal And I understand maybe not running the quarterback sneak with Tom Brady, right? They tried that on 3rd and 1 later in the game, and it didn't work. And I've not been one of those guys calling for it, even though it's been kind of a money play for Brady dating back to his Patriots days. But the landscape has changed. Last year, the year before, when Brady was doing those quarterback sneaks on 3rd and 1, 4th and 1 down there by the goal line, and they were working, you had a Pro Bowl left guard, Ali Marpet. You had a Pro Bowl center, Ryan Jensen. You had a guard who is considerably bigger in Alex Kappa at 6'6", 325 pounds. Nothing against Shaq Mason, but he's maybe 6'1", 6'2", 310. You know, he's not a big guy. And I think that Shaq Mason wins everywhere but around the goal line. It's not to say he can't win in short yardage goal line, but sometimes it's about size right there when they're stacking the box with all those defensive linemen. That being said, I don't understand the premise of pulling your play side guard at the 1 foot line, not your backside guard. You want to pull Shaq Mason from right to left and create numbers on the left side and run to the left. I'm fine with that. But to pull your play side guard, Luke Gedeke, and force Robert Hainsey, who's in his 6th start at center, not Ryan Jensen, Robert Hainsey, to have to make a cut block. That if he misses that cut block, Gedeke pulling and Hainsey on the ground, because he did miss the cut block, creates a massive hole right where you're trying to run the ball. Okay, now holes are good when your linemen are there creating them, but Gedeke is pulling. So he's not creating the hole. The hole's there naturally, and that just allows Larry Ogunjobi to hop over Hainsey, and then another Steelers defender or two to come in and stuff Leonard Fournette for a 3-yard loss. When you're at the 1 foot line, I don't care how bad your offensive line is. I don't care how bad Leonard Fournette's vision is. You deserve to say, we're going to go hat on a hat across the board, and we're going to hand the ball off to 240-pound Leonard Fournette. We're going to say, Lenny, you got 1 second to find the guy from left tackle to right tackle who's pushing the pile 1 foot, and you're going to run behind him, whoever that is. Okay? And the other thing, too, is we saw again on 3rd and 1, and this is why Todd Bowles is, if he had hair, he'd be pulling it out. They can't get a yard. But I don't understand the logic in the premise when Luke Gedeke's been getting whipped all day by Cameron Jordan. I'm sorry, Cameron Hayward. Wrong Cameron, but still a very good Cameron. Why you want to run to the left where you've got a rookie tight end in Kate Otten who got blown up on that play. An injured left tackle, Donovan Smith, who got stood up on the play, and a rookie left guard who's struggling, who got shoved aside on that play. And why you don't want to invest that down on Shaq Mason, who is a proven, experienced right guard. Oh, by the way, he's lining up next to your best offensive lineman, an all-pro in Tristan Wirfs. To me, that's logical. If you don't get it running behind those two guys, I understand that. Listen, I know sometimes as we age, JP, I think you're maybe a year or two older than me. Byron Leftwich has not hit 50 yet, but he's closer to 50 than 30. We forget things, right? Our mind gets a little foggy. We forget some things.
Yes.
Maybe he forgets that Ali Marpet isn't there. Maybe he's assuming Marpet is still playing. I don't know. I don't understand the logic on some of these short down calls. Why they're running to the left into Hayward, who's the best player on defense without TJ Watt and Minkah Fitzpatrick there.
I think too often, and I think this was a game that was just rife with this problem, is the Bucs were reacting to what the Steelers were doing and going away from their strengths. The Steelers were showing, hey, we're going to play coverage. We're not going to have heavy boxes for the most part. So, we're inviting the run. But as soon as they snapped the ball, the safety was moving up. They were running out of every time they ran out of a condensed formation, which literally had 22 players almost all inside the numbers. And I counted one time there were 9 guys within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage, with the 10th guy running up at the snap because the tells for our running game are all over the place.
Yep.
And you just, there's no room to run. There's
No.
no room to run. And even on the 2-point play, these condensed formations, there's 22 people within not only 4 or 5 yards of the line of scrimmage, but there's nowhere to run. There's nowhere to run. There's no openings.
Right.
You're trying to pass the ball in the interior to Chris Godwin. I mean, none of these plays make any sense.
So
you're not thinking of defensive people. It's crazy.
Let's talk about the 2-point conversion play, because I was talking to Rick Stroud about this in the media room yesterday. The 2-point conversion play is your best play. It's your best short yardage play, right? That's what you're saying. This
all week long.
This is the play you're going to dial up in short yardage, right? Because you need the points. This is not a, first and goal call or second and goal. No, this is like, you either make it or you break it. And I'm going to ask you guys just a general question. Is Tom Brady really good at like scanning the field and finding an open receiver? Is that one of his strengths? Okay. I think in 23 years, he's gotten pretty good at that, right?
Yeah.
I don't understand the logic of running a one-man route. Okay. If you go back and look at the scheme of that play. Now, the thing is, I'm of the opinion that I'm going to trust Brady to make a really quick read, probably the right pre-snap read, and go to what he thinks is going to be an open guy.
Yeah.
If I'm running 5 guys, right, because you have 5 eligible players that can catch the ball. If I'm running patterns in the end zone, and granted it's condensed, right? You got a short field to work with, but I'm going to give Brady multiple options. One, where he can look and scan the defense and pre-snap. You know what? I'm supposed to be here, but I'm actually going to go over here. 2, where you snap the ball and maybe this was your first read and it's covered, so you can go back to him or to him. That wasn't the play design. The play design was Leonard Fournette was going to go out into the flat and occupy linebacker Robert Spillane. When I mean occupy, I mean Leonard literally went out of the backfield and stopped at the 2-point or the 2-yard line, right? Not in the end zone.
Right.
In the 2-yard line, away from the middle of the field. He did his job, but he literally runs and stops. Doesn't even turn around. He just literally runs and stops and looks at Spillane like, hey, I suckered you. You're over here, not in there. Okay. Right. But he's not an eligible receiver.
No,
he's not. He can't score. He's not in the end zone.
Right.
Mike Edwards is running a clear out from the left to the right. And actually, I think he bends it back into the left.
Yeah.
Okay.
He runs. He sees bracketed and runs, but he's so tight to the formation.
Correct.
He can't really threaten a slant.
Correct.
Too many bodies in there. If he's out wider, he's got a 2-way go.
Yep. But like Fournette, Evans is not really an option, a viable option on that play, because, like you said, where he's lined up schematically, he's not really an option. Okay.
Easy to cover. Yeah.
Right. I want to say it was Russell Gage to the right side of the formation.
Right side, tight formation again. Not split out wide, tight formation.
Exactly.
And he runs a little in route against a 4-team corner. That would have been a nice decision as well. But
that would have been nice.
Didn't really look.
He wasn't designed to go there. Cade Otton. Okay, this is like one of those follow crossers, right? Where Cade Otton, his job is to go set the pick.
Yeah.
Okay. And he did that to the best of his ability. It wasn't perfect because it didn't work. Right. But my point is he did it. And to Devin Bush's credit, he saw it, read the play, got around Otton, and then made the play to on Chris Godwin.
Yep.
But the fundamental problem with that play is Godwin was the first and only option.
Yep.
It either works or it doesn't. There's no plan B. There's no backup option. There's no second read. That's going to be the play. Yep. Now, here's the other thing. What if Chris Godwin, coming out of his break, slips on the grass and falls down? It's dead. The play is dead. Okay, you don't get the 2 points.
Yep.
So why in the world, if you're Byron Leftwich and you're designing this play, which you want and you need to get 2 points on, right? It's a money play, has to work. Why would you only want to give the best quarterback in the game at scanning the field, seeing the defense, reading it pre-snap, and then during the play and finding the open receiver? Why do you want to give him one option?
Yeah.
That is asinine.
Yeah, and not only one option, but you told Pittsburgh you've got about half the field you have to cover.
Yeah.
because nobody's going out wide. You're not. You
Yeah.
don't. So you've got 11 guys to cover all of this space in the middle. It's too congested. There's no
It
throwing
is.
lanes, and it's just if that's your best play,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's bad.
That's 2 2-point conversions.
That's 2 now. Right.
Yeah. And the other 2-point conversion was just as bad.
Right.
I mean, no. And if that's your idea of a pick and getting a guy open and man to man, it's a terrible concept. It just in so many instances I saw this. And Scott, I've kind of dug deep on this Brady thing going to the wedding. I heard the guys on Get Up this morning, talking about this is, Peyton Manning would never have done this. Jeff Saturday said, I don't mind you going to a wedding if you got to do it on Friday night, but get your ass back Saturday morning on your private plane. You made no effort to do that. You could have left at 11 o'clock and been in your bed by 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And, sure, it's not ideal. You could have slept on the plane home. You got a private plane with a master bedroom. I mean, come on. You got to get your ass back here. And the fact that he didn't do it, I think that sends a message to everybody on the team. And then when you go up and start yelling at your offensive line, normally the GOAT gets you get the benefit of the doubt, but you're not the GOAT anymore when you're doing stuff like this.
I don't know.
If you've got a different opinion, I'll listen.
I think the other thing too is he did see his son Jack up in New York, right? So it wasn't just a wedding, like it was an opportunity to see his son too, right? And yeah, it's not ideal. Like, yeah, you don't want Tom Brady to necessarily do that. At the same time, I don't think that affected his preparation. I don't think it affected his play on Sunday. He's too good of a quarterback to have done that. And I think what's holding back this offense is the play calling. It's just it's inept. And I've said it before, and I wrote about it today, and I'm not getting bashful about saying it. And I don't care who likes me or doesn't like me at One Buck Place and who agrees with me and who doesn't agree with me. I don't care. That's not my job to be liked. It's my job to report what I see.
Right.
And I've had this feeling that Byron Leftwich is not all that he's cracked up to be. And it's hard to say that, right? When this team's going 11-5, winning the Super Bowl, 13 and 4, and getting to the NFC divisional playoffs and losing to the defending the eventual Super Bowl champions by 3 points. But the reality of it is Byron Leftwich is being exposed, right? And football is a combination of the X's and O's and the Jimmies and the Joes, meaning you can be a fantastic play caller and have a bunch of crappy players and they're not going to produce points because they're just not good. Because football, at the end of the day, is a battle of one-on-ones. It's a battle of 11 one-on-ones. And who has the talent or the technique to win those. And then when all things are even, or when you have a matchup you can exploit, that's where the play calling comes in to give you an advantage. Yep. But what we're seeing now is, and let me just say who the Jimmies and the Joes are. It takes 11 on offense, but more importantly, a future Hall of Fame quarterback, a future Hall of Fame tight end, a future Hall of Fame wide receiver, 3 Pro Bowl offensive linemen, Ali Marpet, Ryan Jensen, Tristan Wirfs, and a Hall of Fame caliber wide receiver who's just a diva jackass, and Antonio Brown. And you've got, I think, an above average running back in Leonard Fournette.
Oh, yeah,
okay,
absolutely.
And when you have all of those things, I'm not saying anybody can call the plays, but Byron Leftwich is going to look good, right? Because everything he's going to work, those players have the ability to win their one-on-ones more downs than not and execute. The problem is he's got half of that to work with now. Marpet and Gronkowski retired. AB bailed on the team last year. Jensen's on IR. But at the same time, you still have Tom Brady and 2 1,000-yard Pro Bowl caliber wide receivers to work with, and you've got Fournette. You should 20 points, 30 points per game, probably not, but 4, right? 24 points would probably do it. Yeah. But they're averaging 20. And more importantly, they only scored 18 and they scored 12 against the Packers. So, and they scored 13 on offense against the Saints, and they scored 19 against the Cowboys. So they're not even hitting 20 points in most of their games. And it's problematic. And because there's fundamental problems with scheme, with play calling, with the lack of creativity, imagination, with predictability, with the lack of adjustments, I don't getting better. better this year. I really don't. Are there going to be a game here or there where they can score 30 points and will? Yeah. But you know what? Sunday should have been one of those days.
Damn right. Should have been 40 points.
This is why I brought this up yesterday. I look at the teams around the league. Like the Saints are playing with Andy Dalton. Okay. Kamara's missed a couple games. They're playing without their 3 top receivers. They can still get 25 points. The Giants somehow can score 20-something points. The Jets can do it. The Patriots can do it with Bailey Zappi. The Lions can do it. I have so many examples of teams with inferior talent that are doing it. That, to your point, I'm past the excuses. And it's like, when was the last time you seen a Bucs receiver running free? It seems like they're always covered, or I mean, it's always they make it so hard on themselves, and that has to be play calling, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's Byron Leftwich's job to get guys favorable matchups. And when I think just criminal negligence is 4 targets for Mike Evans, including only 1 in the second half. I mean, that there's no excuse for that. And if you can't manufacture plays for him to get open, setting picks, moving him into the slot, doing whatever, finding a favorable matchup, it's criminal. It's criminal. It's malpractice. Is really what it is. It's malpractice. Well, and that's what I mean. That's what I mean by he's being exposed, because right now this team needs good play calling. They need to be not predictable. They need to have imagination and creativity. There has to be adjustments, made, and we're not getting any of that from Byron Leftwich. We're getting ineptitude, and we're getting illogical play calls and predictability.
There's no question about that, Scott, and I agree with you on Leftwich. But I also say, are you sitting there telling me that Tom Brady has no input on these plays? He has no control over who gets targets. He's the one pulling the trigger. He's the one that's not looking to Mike Evans when he's open. I saw that, and you saw it too, probably a half dozen times. There was one play in particular early on in the game where I think it was 3rd and 7, where Brady locks into Godwin on the right side, and the corner's trailing him underneath, and he's running a comeback. That route's never going to be open, and he's got somebody over the top. And Mike is crossing in one-on-one with a guy 2 yards behind him. If Brady hits him in stride, he's going to run for 30 yards. He never came back to the middle. And I think I saw a lot of inaccurate passes from Tom Brady, most of them when people were coming at his feet because he refuses to step into a throw because he's nervous he's going to get hit. I see a quarterback that's timid to get hit. I see a quarterback that's not getting to his second read because he's afraid to get hit. He thinks he doesn't have the time. I think a lot of this is on Tom Brady. And a lot of it is, of course, the offensive line is not helping at all either because they're not giving him the opportunity to step up. So but I think you're giving Brady too much of a pass here. He has a lot of influence on this play calling, if not, 80 to 90%. He can change any play he wants at the line of scrimmage. He can go to Mike Evans more if he wants. So I
agree. I agree with you there. And listen, I'd like to see Tom Brady take over this offense more. I trust him better than I do Byron Leftwich. I really do.
Yeah.
I would love for Todd Bowles to just say, Byron, you're going to be the play caller, but Tom, you're going to run the offense. Very much like how Peyton Manning did in Indy. Even though Tom Moore was the play caller, it was Peyton Manning ran the offense, and I'd like to see that happen now. I mean, this is year 3 for Brady and this offense. He knows it. He knows the plays. He's mastered it. I mean, he led the league in pass attempts, yards, and touchdowns last year. So I'm all for it. At the same time, I just want to say one thing about Tom Brady that is he's not having his best year. That's obvious. He's not playing up to his ability. He's even admitted that. Todd Bowles even admitted that yesterday. At the same time, this is uncharted territory for Tom Brady. And I go back to that game against the Patriots, right, where Tom Brady has been there and done that. He's seen every defense, every coverage, every blitz. He's played every team. He's been in every stadium. He's done everything except back in New England last year. He had not returned home against his former team. That was new. And anytime you're facing a new situation, I don't care if you're in your 40s and been in the league for 2 decades, you're a rookie again in that situation.
It's uncomfortable.
Tom Brady is a rookie again in the fact that he's going through a very public, high-profile divorce during football season. Right. This is new for him. He's never experienced this before. There's nothing he can like draw back from. Well, I remember back in 2017 with the Patriots, or 2010, or there's nothing he can cling to and say, I've been there, done that, and I know how to get out of this. I know how to do this, right? I know how to overcome and succeed and win, because Brady's all about winning. And I think he's not winning off the field. And regardless of whatever's gone wrong in Tom Brady's personal life, right, with marriage, with kids, we're all parents and all that stuff, right? It's not always awesome and pretty off the field.
That's right.
But on the field, this guy was in control. He was the best. His creative juices were out there on display. The wins, the what adrenaline rush you get, the mastery of the game. He controlled, and he was the master. The football field, the gridiron, has been his sanctuary for years, right? And now it's not. Now it's not his sanctuary, because things are not going to plan. He is not the mastery of the sport that he once was. He's not getting his way. This team is not winning. This offense is not playing up to its potential. And there's some turmoil there. So if you're Tom Brady, and part of the reason why your life is in turmoil off the field is because of your love affair with football. You can't let it go. And it's like now your mistress or your first love or whatever you want to call football to Tom is letting him down. And he's not in complete control, and he's not winning. And it's not as fun. Doesn't mean that it's over. Doesn't mean it can't get better for Tom. Doesn't mean he's going to quit. But it's just, this used to be his salvation. Sundays were his salvation.
Right.
And they're not anymore. And it's got to be a dark place for Tom Brady. I don't know the guy, but it's got to be. I came back for this. Wow.
And maybe, what's interesting about that is maybe, what do you do when all these things are crashing in around you? What do you do? What do you do? Normally, all of us, we huddle together with our family and our friends, the people that have supported us all of our life. You want to get back to that, right?
Right.
And that's why he probably went to that wedding on Friday night, because Bob
probably
was like a dad to him, and he thought that was important for him.
Yeah, seeing his son Jack. Yeah,
seeing his son Jack, absolutely. But again, all those things that you said about Brady and all the familiarity things, and that's where he thrives. He's never done this stuff before. He's never taken 11 days off in training camp. He's never gone to a wedding before. Bill Belichick didn't go to the wedding. He said he had too much to do. He was involved. Right. These are things that and so when you're in the bunker like this and your team's not playing well, I understand that want to reach out to family and stuff like that, but you're compromising what you've always been about. Mm-hmm. And that's complete, utter dedication to your team, especially during the season from a time standpoint. So there's conflict. There is conflict all over his life, where in past seasons it was all one way. And now he's got stuff going all over the place. It's unfamiliar to him. And I think his performance is showing it. I'm not putting it all on Tom Brady at all. But
you know what? Here's the thing. I mean, just as a compassionate human being, right? Like it's understandable.
Of course,
it's completely understandable. Absolutely. And it's like, you want to say, well, it's unforgivable, but at the end of the day, I mean, that's unrealistic, right? I mean, it's like, I understand fans, and it's like, it's like, come on, we only need you for 3 hours on Sundays to, get it right. Like, I get that sense, but everything we just talked about in the last 2 minutes is real.
Absolutely.
And you can't block it out. You can't forget it. It's happening. Life is happening for Tom Brady in a very new and unfamiliar way. And he's navigating this for the first time, 23 years into the league, doing what he loves, what he's great at.
Right.
He's a rookie in some respects this season.
It's a great point. And if everything else were going on right around this team, we wouldn't even notice it, because the defense would be playing well enough to win these games. Yep. And they're not without blame here. And there was a lot of blame on that tape, partner.
It starts with Devin White. It
starts with Devin White. And, and we talk about play calling and scheming things out. You look at that first drive for Pittsburgh. They get down and they have 4th and 1, right? What do they do? They go quick, right?
Yep.
You know why?
Because the Bucs a nickel defense.
Because Vita Vea is not on the field.
That's right.
You're going to run a 4th and 1 short yardage, and you don't want Vita Vea, so they rush to the line, and they,
That's right.
our the defensive line there was the rookie Hall. I mean, it was light.
I think they had a 3-man rush on, so there's no defensive lineman. Makes perfect sense. It was a great play call.
So they get them, and then what do they do next play? They made the offside back comes across the formation and now becomes Devin White's responsibility out in the flat. And they knew damn well what they were doing there. Because everybody does it every week. They pick on Devin White because they know he's going to go away from his responsibilities.
Yeah,
and
he wants to rush the passer. He wants to get the sack. That's his first mindset. Yeah, wide
open. I don't know. Maybe I think Daryl Johnson said the safety was responsible for that.
No,
I don't know.
No, not in single high. Because they were playing single high. In single high, that's not the case. That's Devin White's guy. You can even see when Devin White does this after Najee Harris is in the end zone. He's telling on himself, right? The other thing, too.
Why isn't Byron Leftwich scheming that up? Why aren't they against a bunch of backups Sunday? There are guys out there that didn't know what the hell they were doing. You could have put pressure on that back 4, back 5 guys and set up Mike Evans and set up Chris Godwin. I mean, come on.
Let me ask you, what has been the hottest topic in the NFL over the past 2 weeks? And I'm going to give you 2 hints. The first names of 2 players, Tua, Cam.
Yeah.
Concussions, right?
Yeah.
Okay, concussions. Right. And we're not talking about, I mean, it's unfortunate what happened to Cam Brate. That type of stuff is going to happen on the field and is not going to get legislated. But by God, you rough the passer and they're going to throw a flag. And so for Devin White to come in with an unnecessary shove, he didn't get the sack. The ball was gone and he shoved him on 3rd down. Like that had to be a coaching point. In one Buccaneer place and around the league, when you are around the quarterback, you got to make sure the dude has the ball and you got to make sure you tackle him the right way. Right. And so that's a point of emphasis. Now, honestly, if this had happened last year, it's still a dumb play by Devin White.
Yeah.
But it may not even be called last year. There's such an emphasis on it right now. And so for Devin White to do that when the entire spotlight of the league is on protect the quarterback at all costs, right? To do that is just stupid. And then for him to make that blunder and leaving Najee Harris's responsibility wide open a couple plays later, it's like Devin White cost you 7 points.
And it does. It happens almost every week.
It happens too often.
And you just why? And this the 3rd and longs. My God, Scott.
Yeah.
But 3rd and 11, 3rd and 11, 3rd and 11, 3rd and 15.
Yep.
And these were all. You stop any one of those plays, you get the ball back to Brady, you likely win this game.
Yeah.
And you got a quarterback.
Yeah. You need a field goal to win, and you got the best field goal kicker in the league right now, and Ryan Suckup. For everything that is going wrong with the Buccaneers, by God, Ryan Suckup is right. He is so right. He is so good right now.
And Bowles doesn't even blitz on any of those plays with Mitch Trubisky, who's the worst quarterback against the blitz in maybe the history of the game.
Yep.
And Mr. Blitz doesn't blitz in those situations.
Yeah.
What the hell? The only way they're going to make a play is if he gets out of the pocket and makes a play, which he did every single time. I mean,
well, and certainly the most egregious was the outside rush by Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, who did not have a good game in Pittsburgh after having a good game against the Falcons, but JTS just runs the arc way too wide. At the end of the day, your first responsibility as an edge rusher is to contain
the quarterback. Yep.
And then it's to get the sack if you can, but your pass rush has to be predicated on the concept of containment.
Yep.
Right? Because if you don't get the sack, if you still do your job and contain, you might have an interior rusher, right? Or a blitzing linebacker from the interior step up and get the play, right? And get the sack. That's team football, right? That's too often the Buccaneers rush like this rather than this.
Yep.
And it's still the same thing. It's 5 fingers on one hand. But when they come together, it's a fist.
Yep.
When you get into a fight, you don't fight with your fingers spread, right? And Warren Sapp told me this. He's like, it's real simple. When you're rushing 5 or 4, right, you don't fight with this. You fight with this. And that's conceptually what pass rush is. It's working together. Yep. And JTS just decides to, he literally almost ran a circle. If you go back and watch that play, this is the play where Trubisky runs to the left and escapes and then finds Chase Claypool by the sidelines. for the first down on one of those 3rd and longs. JTS literally runs behind Trubisky, and where he stops, he's literally in front of the right tackle. That's how far around he went.
Yeah.
He's 30 yards away from where he should be. Well, not 30, 20 yards away from where he should be.
They're coached not to do this. This is some mentality where they're thinking
freelancing. I'm an athlete. I'm fast. Yeah. And honestly, I do see some Devin White and JTS sometimes, and I hope it gets coached out of him. Yeah. But it's like, listen, man, your speed can either work for you or work against you. And sometimes with those two guys, their speed, just because they want to make a play so bad that they don't stay within the scheme of the defense. You can get away with that at Washington. You can get away with that at LSU. This is the NFL, man. Players are too good.
No, they'll take advantage of it. All right, Scotty, we've taken up way too much of your time. I appreciate it, brother.
Always a pleasure, guys.
Tell us all the great content that folks can get from Pewter Report and where to get it.
PewterReport.com is the place to go. You can also follow us on social media, on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Pewter Report. And we have podcasts 3 times a week, and then on game days on our YouTube channel, which is Pewter Report TV. We'll have our Bucs Panthers preview tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Each show during the week, Monday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays is live at 4 o'clock. If you miss that, you can always go to Pewter Report TV and watch the replay of that, the replay of the podcast. And this is a big game coming up, JP, because this is a divisional game. They're all big now, but this one especially, if they can get back on the right track, beat the hapless Panthers that just fire their head coach and don't have a defensive coordinator, and all these Baker Mayfield's out. We thought this team was going to take advantage of a wounded Steelers team. This is another chance, another wounded duck here.
They lose this week, you may retire again. You may get benched.
Yeah. It could be bad. But if they do win, they're 3-0 in the division, and they live to fight another day.
All right, Scotty. Hopefully they'll get it all straightened out. Thanks, my man. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
As always. Great stuff right there from the Pewter Report and Scott Reynolds. It's a mess right now, but I think it's entirely fixable in a lot of different ways. But they got to be, these are the honest conversations that they have to have. They're not easy conversations, especially when the GOAT's involved. But somebody needs to, I listened to this podcast last night. We're going to play somebody. I'm just waiting for him to start pointing the finger at himself, and he just never does.
I tell you what, I hate to keep flip-flopping back and forth how I feel about everything with Brady, but Scott, for like 3 minutes there, I totally was just zoned in what he just said. And
I think it's not one or the other. It's all.
No, but even what you said too about, in your worst times, who do you go to? And he said, you know what? I want to go be around Robert Kraft. I want to go be around Vince Wilfork and Ty Law, and I want to be around these guys. I just need sounds weird, but I just need a hug.
Right.
Like I don't know. And I look on my team, and it's like Gronk's not there, Yeah. And I look around, and these guys all got different personalities.
He's got to feel very alone.
I get it. It's like when I heard that now, it's like it's why these are hard conversations to have, because you feel like inhumane having them.
No, what am I, some kind of asshole? I don't want him to go be with his son.
Exactly.
Of course I do.
It's just.
But my point being is this is not who you've been your entire life, and your advantage on the reason you are who you are is because of your ridiculous commitment to football, and that is your winning edge, and that has gone away. It's gone away, and so now what is your winning edge? Your athleticism, your arm strength.
No, there's a reason why he is the way he is, because he's a limited athlete who was a 6th-round pick.
Exactly.
Who had to wait, who was like 6th quarterback at Michigan. There's a reason why all these things have been like that.
He's always been the most prepared player and always outfought everybody on the team, and had a big enough arm and an accurate enough arm to execute that advantage. And when you let it, I said it yesterday, when you let it slip this much in the NFL, that's the difference between being a mediocre team and a great team. This much. And you can't tell me that he's all in, because he's not.
He reminds me of right now.
And again, from a humane perspective, I don't. Of course, I want him to see all these people.
Yeah.
But I also want if you're going to be on this team and you're going to be who we signed you to be, you got to be that guy. That's the deal.
It does.
That's the deal.
But
if you're not going to be that guy, then
it does. But
these are the results you're going to get.
It does. But like we said, and we just had a great, 30 so minutes right there of going over everything. And I'm just having all these plays that flash into my mind when I watch the All-22. And it's like, you have to almost put Brady aside for a second. That's why all these other things are happening. It's just the Devin White thing. For the life of me, like, I can't explain it, why he goes off script. Why is it still happening in year 4?
Yep.
This guy is not. Stop telling me that he's the next Derek Brooks of this defense. He's not even close. He's not even in Levante David's even stratosphere as far as I'm concerned.
Yep.
I just don't think he's a good football player. Am I being too harsh? Because everybody else wants to tell me that he's a top 50 player in the league. And
well, because of his numbers.
He's not a good football player.
He leads the team in sacks. He leads the team in tackles for
I don't
loss.
care. My eyes are telling it to me. He's not a good football player. And I'm dead serious when I say this. I know they picked up his 5th-year option. There's nothing there telling me that I need this guy for the long term.
You can't do it. You cannot sign
Sorry
him
if that's too harsh. I love Devin White, the person.
Yeah. Because his perception of who he is, but everybody watches film in this league. Every other offensive coordinator takes advantage of him every week. He's a tremendous athlete. He's really fast.
This matchup should have been the easiest matchup for him to deal with.
Yeah.
What tight end was on the field for the Pittsburgh Steelers yesterday? Alvin Gentry?
Yeah.
Pat Fryermuth wasn't even playing. Najee Harris is
who was
awful.
The guy, Hayward, who got the big play, 40-yard play. Yeah, all right, we got to take a break. Let's take a break, and we're going to come back on the other side. We're brought to you by Emerging Investigations, Jeeves Law Group, in our first hour. Our second hour, BAMMC.com, Bay Area Modern Medical Center. We'll tell you about them in just a second. Tom Brady's podcast. We got some great quotes from that. And I know it's a lot about Brady, folks, but guess what? He's the GOAT. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Was your car totaled in an accident? Did your insurance company use Kelley Blue Book or NADA to appraise the value of your car? Chances are they didn't, and you got shorted maybe thousands of dollars. Call the Jeeves Law Group for a free case evaluation because your insurance company may still owe you money. 727-894-2929. It's a free call, so why not find out if you have a case? Insurance companies have been running this scam for a while, and most folks don't know if they've been shorted. Trust me. Scott Jeeves is a different kind of attorney, the kind insurance companies hate to go up against. He could recover thousands of dollars, so why not call? 727-894-2929 or go to JeevesLawGroup.com. That's JEEVES lawgroup.com and tell them JP sent you.
JP here for Emerging Investigations, Tampa Bay's premier investigation agency. Do you suspect your spouse is cheating or involved in a divorce, that your spouse is hiding money, an ex-employee or current employee with suspicious behavior? Is there a criminal matter you need help with? If you need information you can count on, using the professionals at Emerging Investigations is a slam dunk. Emerging Investigations is a licensed and insured private investigation agency, family-owned. Emerging is your ideal resource to secure evidence and validation, allowing you to make informed decisions in life's biggest matters. Led by industry executive Brian D'Antonio, Emerging possesses the experience and resources to get needed results. Emerging Investigations maintains an excellent reputation as a premier investigation agency. They are known for results. You're not just hiring a PI, but an organized, dedicated team using state-of-the-art technology. Their proven investigative methods produce crucial information used in criminal cases, insurance fraud, and personal injury claims. Many local attorneys, industry agencies, and your concerned neighbors all count on Emerging Investigations. Just go to their website, emerginginv.com, or call 813-291-FACT. That's 813-291-FACT-3228. Get results you can trust in life's biggest matters. Emerging Investigations. Now is the time to make sure your home insurance is in order. In the last year, many of us have made improvements to our homes. So call the folks at Italiano and discuss these upgrades to make sure you have enough coverage. According to a recent report, almost 64% of homeowners don't have enough insurance on their home, which is their most valuable asset. Also, a great time to make sure you have flood insurance. Even if your mortgage company does not require flood insurance, your home could still be at flood risk. Another big item as we enter hurricane season is making sure your pool enclosure is added to your policy and there will be no issue at claim time. That happens a lot. So call your friendly agent at Italiano Insurance to review your policies today. 813-877-7799 or ItalianoInsurance.com.
Hey guys, Serena Fazan here for the Gold and Diamond Source. Are you looking for the hottest trends in men's jewelry? Ladies love to see men spice it up with something cool from the Gold and Diamond Source. Whether you're looking for a gold chain, fashion rings, even a pre-owned Rolex watch, or thinking about getting engaged, there's only one place to go. Go see my friends, Julie and Steve Weintraub at the Gold and Diamond Source for your one-stop jewelry supercenter. It's never been more important to shop local and support the businesses that support our amazing Tampa Bay community. None better than the great folks at the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Ulmerton Road, or online at goldendiamond.com.
Attention, if you are home shopping or looking for a refinance, and even if you already have the approval letter, you must call my man Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Scott has a brand new program available in the greater Tampa Bay area called the Community Advantage Loan Program. Get this, no money down, no mortgage insurance, no points, no origination fee, purchase or refinance, and loan amounts up to $647,000. Now, there are some application requirements. It must be a single-family home, one unit, primary residence, and have a minimum 640 credit score. The program only applies to certain neighborhoods, so you have to call to find out if you qualify. So call Scott Fitzgerald at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Now, even if you don't qualify for that program, Scott will shop your loan around, get you the best rates, and won't charge you the huge upfront fees. And if you've had issues with your bank calling you back, Scott will return calls immediately, or at least the same day. 813-294-7595 or email him, scott@amstampa.com. Scott Fitzgerald, MLS 386722, American Mortgage Services, 1000 North Ashley Drive, Suite 1020, Tampa, Florida. JP here for Italiano Insurance. If you've started a side hustle during COVID and the business has grown, well, you need business insurance, because if you get sued, you could lose all your personal wealth if you're not properly protected. That's right. Your home, your savings, everything could go. So get protected now. Call the great agents at Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799, and a real human will answer the phone and get you protected. If you haven't shopped your business insurance in a while, you could be overpaying by thousands. One customer had their golf buddy handling his business insurance, then called Italiano to shop it around, and they saved him $26,000 a year. Yeah. So call 813-877-7799 or go to ItalianoInsurance.com. Italiano Insurance, protecting all the pieces of your life for over 60 years. Military veterans, are you struggling with alcoholism or substance abuse? Is it taking a toll on your relationships and your work life? Are you having trouble focusing, constantly anxious? Well, you may not be surprised to know that your fellow military vets have your six. Heroes Mile is a new concept in rehabilitation clinics, veterans helping veterans. At Heroes Mile, we staff our rehab center with fellow veterans who can understand what you're going through. Our mission is to help you heal from issues that only your fellow veterans can truly understand. Located just outside of DeLand, we offer a full range of inpatient and outpatient programs dealing with substance abuse, post-traumatic stress, and military sexual trauma. We choose to serve veterans because we know how complex these issues are. You could choose to fight the battle alone or win the war together. We are the community care provider with the VA and also accept most major insurance. At Heroes Mile Rehabilitation Center, we have your six. Go to heroesmile.com or call 888-VET-NOW-2. That's heroesmile.com or call 888-VET-NOW-2.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's rock. This is FanStream Sports with JP.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center in our second hour, and the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. By the way, Jeeves Law Group, we're giving away four tickets to the Florida-Georgia game coming up in a couple of weeks, couple of Saturdays. And we're going to ask you to send in videos, you Gator fans, of why Gators are better than Bulldogs. If you want to go the animal route, you want to go the fan route, you want to go the school route, whatever you want, just come up with something creative. And all you got to do is send it to us on social media, on FanStream JP, at the JP Peterson Show, and we will collect them all, and we will come up with a couple of winners to give you 4 tickets to the Florida-Georgia game, which is going to be a very interesting game, I think, and all courtesy of the Jeeves Law Group. And Bay Area Modern Medical Center, if you're looking to lose weight or testosterone replacement therapy. I think we're having Chris on next week to talk about TRT. So that is the way to go, folks. You need to get your levels, find out what's going on, because it is a game changer in your life, men. Get your testosterone levels right at BAMMC.com.
Yeah. TJ should be coming in here shortly, he says. Oh, there he is. There.
TJ, there is the wonderful TJ Reeves. Awesome. So we'll get right to him. We were going to play some of the podcast, TJ, but we'll get to that after you.
Which one?
We're talking about Tom Brady's Let's Go podcast, where he said a lot of we should do this and we should do that. I'm old school. I think he should be taking a lot more responsibility than he is. But it's as you and I talked about earlier today, it is not just Tom Brady. I think I'm coming across that way, that it's all him, and I don't mean to. This is a team loss. There's a lot, but when you win, the leader gets all the credit, right? He gets a lot of the credit. When you lose, he's going to get a lot of the flack, but he's far from the only problem on this team right now. What are you seeing?
I would agree, and I was there at field level, and it's good to be with you. And these are tough losses, because it's tough to explain how you're playing a defense that bad and you can't move the ball and score touchdowns, especially after what you saw Buffalo do to them the week before. Yeah. Now, I will give them credit to this extent. Mike Tomlin's a heck of a coach, and he's a defensive mind, and they were doing things to disrupt, and the Bucs just didn't adjust. Yeah. So we could sit here for another 10 minutes on adjusting to the adjustments, but I mean, he was bringing run blitzes on first down that they didn't adjust to. Obviously, as the game went on, they struggled to run the ball. This is not a team. I'm going to hit the ball back over the net to you, to your point. This is not a team right now that can just line up and overpower people with their offensive line. That's obvious. They miss Ryan Jensen. Ali Marpet is gone forever, retired, and he's lost like 75 pounds. He's not ever coming back. Alex Kappa signed as a free agent with the Bengals and is playing at a high level as a guard with the Bengals, from what I understand, too. We'll see them later in the year. So now you've replaced that with Shaq Mason, who's new. He's not as big as Alex Kappa. You've replaced it with Robert Hainsey, who's not a veteran like Jensen and is not as big. And Luke Gedeke is not as good a blocker as what Ali Marpet has been. So you just can't, right, JP? You can't line up right now with that group and think you're going to run over people. And that's a big part of the problem, is that especially short yardage and on first down, they're struggling to get anything going up front.
Well, and to me, that falls on the coaches. You have to coach around your deficiencies. That's the essence of coaching, right? You got to put your players in the best position to win and put them in winnable situations. Trying to overpower a team, like you said, on 3rd and 1 when you don't have the horses to do so is just silly. It's silly, but we continue to try and do it. And I wonder, how much of this is when you talk about newness, and I know we say it's 6 games in, but all those things you said, and we talked about the coaching staff. The coaching staff, well, there wasn't a whole lot of changes, but you know what? Responsibilities change dramatically. Todd Bowles is now the head coach. Bruce Arians is not there, and from what I'm told, he doesn't have much input at all. So these are all things that you have to work through. And my question to you is, do we have the pieces, the coaches, the players to work through this, to find out what the deficiency is and fix it? I think we do. I think all this stuff is very, very fixable. So let's try and take a positive route here and tell me how we fix it.
Yeah, for the most part, it's the same coaching staff that won the Super Bowl, and you won the division and won a playoff game last year. So I think the self-scout has got to be there. Yeah, the self-scout's got to be there. And I'm not trying to start any controversy, but you got a guy in the building in Bruce Arians that for 25 years has been an offensive coordinator, play caller in that building. And you got to take a look at some of what his feedback is, I think, on what you're not seeing. You've got a large enough sample size. I mean, the facts are the facts. You and I were talking about this off the air. I've talked about it with others off the air. This is not my opinion. This is not your opinion. This is the truth. They're 9 of 18 in the red zone on touchdowns scored right now. 9 of 18. That is 50%, obviously. It's 21st in the NFL. Last year, they were 3rd in the NFL on touchdowns in the red zone. And the Super Bowl year, they were 2nd. So that has got to be better. And whatever they're doing has got to change and vary up and be different. And so that's a big task. And look, you mentioned this at the top of the conversation. There's some that you put at the feet of the quarterback, but the quarterback doesn't play on the other side of the ball.
That's right.
For the love of all that's holy, if I have to watch another 3rd and 9, 3rd and 12, 3rd and 14, where they're sitting down against a zone defense and completing a pass, I mean, and we saw it with a backup quarterback and a makeshift Pittsburgh offensive line, let us not forget. Yep. And he's got time to throw, and they're sitting down in zones and making plays on 3rd and 9, 3rd and 12, 3rd and 14. That should be win over and over again for the defense. So that's got to get fixed, because that has been a recurring problem that has nothing to do with Brady and the offense. On when you are 3rd and very long, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 14, you've got to win on defense.
Every time. Yeah, and you look at the numbers offensively and defensively. This team it happens to be 22nd in 3rd down conversions offensively and defensively. When you're 22nd in 3rd down conversions,
we're 20. The Buccaneers are 22nd in 3rd downs allowed. I'd have lost money that they're not 30th, 31st, or 32nd on 3rd downs allowed right now.
They're 29th. They're 29th in red zone, I think, offensively. And they're in the low, and they're also very low rated defensively in the red zone. So 3rd down and red zone, they're one of the worst teams in the league. It's a shock that they're 3-3, to be honest with you, because when you look at the other teams that are around them, and that to me is those are the money downs. That's where execution comes in. That's where the better players differentiate themselves. That's winning football. And situationally, the Bucs are not playing well in that situation.
And that being said, I shared this with you. I've shared this with others kind of off the air. I've even mentioned it one other place on the air. They had a bad game at Washington against a bad team last year and lost. And a lot of people were, okay. Yes, you still had Antonio Brown. You had Rob Gronkowski. You had those offensive linemen that I mentioned. So it was a different circumstance. This is a different team. But you can even go back to year one with a loss in Chicago on the Thursday night that was hard to explain, where you couldn't move the ball. Very frustrating, empty stadium. It was bizarre. So you've had these games. What do you do now? What do you do after having that bad game? And do you come out and look like a much better, much more functioning offense against Carolina, who's a very vulnerable team? And if you can't go take advantage of that team now 2 weeks in a row, that you're not moving the ball and scoring touchdowns and getting stuff done in the first quarter, 6 games in, you don't have a touchdown in the first quarter. Get out to the fast start, go get a touchdown, go put 21, 24 points on the board in the first half and calm some things down. They're the ones in control of that right now in that building. Go take care of it.
And Todd Bowles, he kind of had that little drop there in that press conference after the game about guys maybe living off the Super Bowl. And then he was asked about, well, what players? And then he backed off a little bit, like, ooh, I kind of said something. I said what I was actually thinking. I shouldn't have done that. But just that comment alone, which we came out of nowhere. I mean, you get a sense how that kind of landed in the locker room.
Who knows better than the head coach on what's going on with his team, especially on Sunday between the lines between 1 and 4 o'clock. So I think part of that comment, I'm not playing psychologist here from the cheap seats on FanStream JP, but part of that comment is I'm seeing the work ethic. I'm seeing what I need during the week and the preparation, but now it's almost like we show up on Sunday thinking that because we won a Super Bowl a couple of years ago, that we don't have to put feet and action to what we've been working on to win a game. And to be in the right position and to get people blocked and to make the right, read or the right change that it was almost like a comment that was, I am surprised at what I'm seeing on Sunday. Yes. And Sunday is like, hey, we're going to get out here and we're going to beat people. I still remember something that John Gruden told me, TJ Storytime on a FanStream JP interview. You always love this. John Gruden told me when he was get the hashtag going, when he was an assistant with Bill Walsh and with Mike Holmgren on the San Francisco staff that was out there. And eventually Steve Mariucci was around it and Andy Reid was around it. But Gruden was out there, I believe, as the receivers coach. And he said we would go into games with the script and with our plan, and we knew we were going to beat the crap out of people. With Jerry Rice, with Joe Montana, with John Taylor, with those teams in the late 80s that he was around, in the early 90s that he was around, Roger Craig, Ricky Waters. So I know I'm going back a little bit. Yeah. He goes, we knew we were going to beat the crap out of the Rams or the Saints or the Falcons in the division or whoever we were playing, and they knew it. And he goes, and we had that aura that we would step out on the field at Candlestick, or we would even step out in the field in the Superdome, and they knew what we were going to do to them. And Gruden talked about what a powerful thing that was to walk out there knowing what we're going to do to people.
The Mike Tyson effect, the Tiger Woods.
Yes. The Buccaneers are not there, obviously, right now on can we just go out there with an aura and put it on people. I mean, the Philadelphia Eagles look like they're there right now. The Buffalo Bills look like they're there right now. We're gonna go into Arrowhead and we're the better team, and we're gonna outplay you and we're gonna beat you. So you got to get some of that back, some of that mentality back. Get a confidence building win. I want to see get the ball down the field some.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a valid criticism that I know you've been bringing up and others have been bringing up. You've got a healthy Mike Evans. You've got a mostly healthy Chris Godwin. Let's stretch the defense some because there was not nearly enough of that in the second half of the game. Mike Evans gets targeted one time in the game with a bad secondary. If you're looking for things to be better this week, downfield, and trying some of that against Carolina is something to hone in on, I think.
And TJ, from field level, we talk about, it's a physical game. We all know that. And I always say the more physical team wins 90% of the games in this league. And Pittsburgh, I thought, was the more physical team. They look like that badass Steeler teams that we've seen and look like that all year long. They lost 4 in a row. I watched that Buffalo game. They look pathetic. They look like the old Browns. And I'm like, how in the hell are they going to get off the mat? But I said it last week. I said, Mike Tomlin does not put up with this shit.
You did.
He does not. And he's going to have his team ready one way or another. I don't care if they're backups. They may not have the best, most talented, but they're going to get after your ass, especially on their home field. They're going to come at you physically. And I think they took it to the Bucs physically on both sides of the football. And did it look that way to you down there on the field?
Well, they were certainly doing things that were effective, and some of it was physical, but again, some of it was scheme. You got to give him credit too. They were desperate. That's the word I'll use. And you were alluding to this last week, losing 4 in a row and not wanting to lose 5 in a row. But again, he came up with some things, and I have to believe again on their sideline, they're loving the fact you're not testing that secondary down the field. Yes. Because they had to be horrified at the possibility of Evans, Godwin, and anybody else going downfield against that secondary because that's what Buffalo had done to them. That's what the Jets did to them the previous week. They got big pass plays from Zach Wilson against them on that secondary that's beat up. So you kind of played into their hands a little bit too, and the crowd was in the game. And all of that being said, you go down and get a touchdown, and you've got a chance to get off the field, get the ball to Tom Brady, and go win the game with a field goal. You were right there and could not get it done. So that's even more frustrating. But guess what? We're now to Tuesday. There's nothing that can be done about last week.
Yep.
Just thank God you didn't play a game like that in January if it comes to it, because then your season's over. So for right now, get back on track, start winning games. Nick, I know you're big on the numbers. Right now at 3-3 with 11 games to go, I believe 10 wins this division. So if you are 7-4 in your remaining 11, you agree with me on that? 7-4 in your remaining 11, you're going to get to 10 wins.
Yeah, that's why it's like it's hard for me to just say like, oh, the sky's falling. Like we have to all pump the brakes on everything because Atlanta's 3-3, but do we really think Atlanta has it in them to win 10 games? Probably not. So the division should still be yours, and ultimately that's your goal. And in the
11 wins absolutely wins this division. Absolutely. Do we all three agree? 11 wins is going to absolutely win it. So that's 8-3 in the final 11 games.
Yeah.
7-4 is very doable. 8-3 is maybe on the outside. Okay, 8-3, where you're still playing the Rams, you're still playing Cincinnati later on, but you're going to get easier games where you get to play Cleveland, who doesn't look very good, and Deshaun Watson won't be back. You get to play Arizona on Christmas. They don't look very good. You get to play Carolina twice starting this week. Yep. Start adding up. Can you get to 7 wins to get to 10? Can you get to 8 wins to get to 11? I believe that's very much in play, and that should be the attitude right now.
What I see, when I want to look forward, we're looking forward here. This is the best case scenario. And first of all, I said this yesterday. I'll repeat it again. I think Tom Brady, but I think he should do it publicly, but privately, should go in front of the team and say, that was BS. I should have come back here. It's my bad. I got a lot of crap going on. I'm rededicating myself to you guys. I apologize.
You're talking about the travel. That's what you mean.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm not doing that crap anymore. I do have a lot of stuff going on, but I got to rededicate myself. And I'm here for you. I think he's kind of pulling away to, that old and this is just natural. Bob Kraft, Vince Wilfork, all Edelman, all those guys. That's where you want to go when your life's in turmoil. You're going to run to those people that have been around you and supported you all your life. I get it. You want to go to family. You want to see your son. That's fantastic. But you got a responsibility here, and I think that's number one. Number two, this team's going to get better. I really think it's going to get better because defensively they're playing way below their level. And we saw them against the Cowboys. That was a much better defensive effort. That's the way they can play. So the defense is going to get better. There's too many busted assignments. That's going to get straightened out. I guarantee you that. Offensively, don't forget, we still got a guy by the name of Julio Jones. I don't want to count on him, but and Russell Gage is still not, they're still not connecting the way they should. Those are two big weapons that you should be able to kind of bring into the offense this second half of the season. I'd like to see that get going a little bit. Cade Otton's going to get better as a tight end. I've seen a lot of good things from him. He's got to start becoming a red zone, like a Gronkowski, become a red zone threat and eat up the middle of the field. I think, Brady and I think they need to get Bruce Arians with a freaking headset on. I'm sorry.
I don't know if that's going to happen, but at least some input. At least some input from him. Even if it's, I like the humor. Even if it's just sliding something under the closed door. Here, look at this and this and this as things to do. And on Cade Otton, I think he's got a chance to blossom. No one, including me, is saying that Cade Otton is going to be Rob Gronkowski. No, but can he run downfield and make plays to help stretch the defense at tight end? He absolutely can. He had a ball on his fingertips in the third period that would have changed things on an end zone, red zone kind of fringe area, leaping, diving catch. And Gronk more than likely makes that play, but most tight ends, they struggle to make that play. Maybe he makes that play, maybe not. Maybe this week he makes that play on a diving catch. But Otton could be a key. I know you're lighting the candle in the window figuratively for Julio Jones. I hope we get that knee better. I hope you can get some kind of contribution from him. But you still have got Evans and Godwin, who are two of the premier receivers in this league. Yes. And I think we may see some more, but with the level of competition of Carolina this week, of go down the field and at least try it and at least stretch the defense. Let's see if that's the case.
All of this, I think, can get better, immeasurably better. I don't think it's their personnel is bad here, that there's no way you're going to get it done. Gedecke's got to get better. They got to coach around him. They got to get him more help. They can't leave him one-on-one. He's got to get better. So I do think all this stuff is fixable. That to me is the good news. So,
and on the Gedecke point, you have Nick Leverett there that you may want to try. It's not the end of the world if Gedecke were to go to the bench hypothetically for a game and watch and learn. And maybe that is what they're going to do. I don't know. And it's singling him out because I think, look, it's fair to say if Ryan Jensen gets healthy, he's going to go back to being the center. No matter how well Robert Hainsey is or isn't playing, they're going to put the veteran who's bigger in there. Yeah.
So Hainsey goes to left guard. I kind of feel like there's, this team doesn't want to admit some mistakes. That you wanted to be a running football team. Guess what? You're not. So stop trying it. Stop it. Make the adjustment.
Or at least try to do something a little different than what you're doing with running it, because the Steelers obviously had it figured out numerous times with what you were doing.
Run offense in the world. So stop that. I know Todd Bowles wanted to be a more balanced offense. Sorry, it's not working. Go back to throwing the ball 50 times a game. That's seriously. Just do what you got to do to win games. You're trying to fit that round peg in a square peg in a round hole. It's not working. That's bad coaching. And start calling. Start making changes. If Gedecke ain't getting it done, get him out of it. If Devin White gets beat every single game for one touchdown because he's not fulfilling his role and not sticking to what he should do, then sit his ass for a couple of series and see what happens and see if he starts playing the way he's supposed to play. I think they're afraid to have these hard conversations, with people that are failing. And
accountability. You're talking about accountability.
Yes,
and look, on Devin White, he is a tremendously athletic player, but there are lapses in pass coverage. There are times where he doesn't wrap up and doesn't make the play, and he'll be the first one to tell you he's got to be better in that regard. And let's see. This can turn, and this is what the hope would be for the Buccaneers, just one more time. This can turn very quickly favorably if you play well and get some confidence, and then you roll in on a short week at home with Baltimore where you're at the advantage at home, and you suddenly put two good games together and get 2 wins, then everybody calms down a little bit, because now you're 5-3 and you're back on track. Go get the first one Sunday. Go get the first one Sunday.
Well, if they don't get that one, partner,
I will tell you this.
When you get back to $1,
the post-game locker room. I don't even want to think about the post-game locker room after. I still remember in the final days of John Gruden, the Monday night game at Carolina. Did you cover that one on Monday Night Football? Were you there when they ran for 390 or 570 yards or whatever they ran for?
I was there.
That is one of the worst locker rooms that I have ever been in terms of the silence and the glares. Like I'm walking near Derek Brooks and Derek Brooks is glaring at me. Like I'm making the face on the video if you can't see us. He's glaring at me like, do not come anywhere near me. And I'm going over near Rondé Barber, who's going like this before I get 10 feet. Like, I do not want to talk to you after what just happened out there. So that's a negative memery in Carolina. But see,
doing the long snapper.
Yes, exactly. We're going to the holder. We're going to the second string offensive line. But there have been plenty of positives the last couple of years going to Carolina and going around the NFC South and positive locker rooms. It was a positive locker room in New Orleans. Let's keep it up. Get things back on track and find a way to get going on both sides of the ball. This is a vulnerable team that you're playing. This is an interim coach. They've had to jettison Robbie Anderson, as you know, because that was a locker room cancer. They don't have a quarterback.
On the
they are very, very beatable. Just come out and take care of your business, and you should be able to decisively win. Now go put it together, and it will say a lot about this team on whether they do just that.
All right, partner, tell us where everybody can get your content.
All right, so some cool stuff. The Nothing But Bucs podcast is out with the insight that I have, whatever insight that I have. Highlights, post-game interviews. Martin Gramatica, very interesting, on with me talking about several things about Ryan Suckup and about that kickoff play. Let's talk about a hustle play before I leave. How about Jamel Dean running down Sims, the returner, from about 50 yards away? He sprints and goes and tackles him, and they don't get a touchdown on that drive. They had to settle for a field goal. That's an outstanding hustle play. So Martin is talking about special teams and what is that moment like for a kicker where suddenly somebody busts through. So that's on the Nothing But Bucs podcast. We'll be on the air with Buccaneers Radio Sunday. Before then, I'm in Alabama working again for Compass Media's national coverage of Alabama and Mississippi State. Tiki Barber and I are on the cover, Bama, Mississippi State, with Bama now on the High Wire Act. They can't lose anymore if they want to be in the SEC title game and have a chance at the college football playoff. So Alabama, Mississippi State Saturday night. I'll make my way to Charlotte Sunday. We'll have the Bucs and the Panthers Sunday, and then I look forward to being back with you next week.
Awesome. By the way, real quick, I know you're a sideline guy and sideline reporter. I got to tell you this, man. Jalen Darden coming for your job, bro, because that dude loves the sideline like nobody I've ever seen in my life. That dude will find a sideline when he's 60 yards away.
We've seen that, and there's criticism. There's criticism, and I honestly don't know this answer. And maybe it's a thing. Again, get on this with Keith Armstrong or whatever. How much is it by design that they're trying to get something going on the sideline, and they've told him if it is not there, just go out of bounds because he's not the biggest guy. But I'm with you. I've seen that movie. That movie's been on more than A Few Good Men on TNT on the weekend. I've seen that movie.
Film yesterday, and I froze it on my phone. Like when he catches the ball, there's no one within 35 yards. There's nobody in the frame, and it's 35 yards of frame. And he's got by the left side, and he's got the entire field, like the entire
right side. The right side, yes. I know the one you're talking about.
There's nobody. I mean, you could run for days. I know they're coming, but you're going to get at least 25 yards if you outrun everybody, which you're supposed to. You're gone. And this dude fakes to the right and goes right for the sideline.
And they have other guys, by the way, that can return punts. They have other guys that can return punts. So maybe that's another area where they try that, and Jalen Darden becomes inactive for a game or two, and they try somebody else. Because, again, I'm with you. You're looking for solutions and hidden yardage there. Because there were a couple of times, and I know you want to go, there were a couple of times where he didn't run up and catch a short punt, which that's completely on the returner. That punter did not have a good game for Pittsburgh. There were a couple times where Darden could have run up and caught the punt and didn't run up and catch the punt, and that's on the returner.
He's horrible. He's horrible in a game like that.
Got to be better. All
right, brother. Have a good week. We'll talk to you next week.
Look forward to it. You guys behave, and we'll see what happens. Go Lightning tonight with the Flyers, and we'll go from there.
All right. I'll tell Torch you said hi. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back on the other side. We'll get to that Brady podcast, and we might get to something besides Buccaneers, but I doubt it very soon. Hey, the NBA is starting. We got to do a lot.
Oh, joy.
Yeah. No, we're not going to talk about it. Quick break. Back in a moment. Stay with us. The time to make sure your home insurance is in order. In the last year, many of us have made improvements to our homes. So call the folks at Italiano and discuss these upgrades to make sure you have enough coverage. According to a recent report, almost 64% of homeowners don't have enough insurance on their home, which is their most valuable asset. Also, a great time to make sure you have flood insurance. Even if your mortgage company does not require flood insurance, your home could still be at flood risk. Another big item as we enter hurricane season is making sure your pool enclosure is added to your policy and there will be no issue at claim time. That happens a lot. So call your friendly agent at Italiano Insurance to review your policies today. 813-877-7799 or italianoinsurance.com.
Are you concerned your spouse might be cheating or want to locate a long-lost relative or love? Or a missing person and the police are not helping? An insurance adjuster who needs proof of injury. Hi, I'm Rachel D'Antonio from Tampa Bay's premier private investigation agency, Emerging Investigation. We have a proven track record of results. Local attorneys and insurance companies hire us to discover insurance fraud and crucial information in criminal cases. We can help in custody matters, and we devote a tremendous state-of-the-art technology and cutting-edge industry surveillance techniques to get you trusted results. Larger corporate agencies can be more expensive and do not offer the personal level of customer service and interaction that we pride ourselves on. We are a family-owned business. Our professional experience team includes my son, lead investigator Zach D'Antonio, a former collegiate athlete, and my daughter Emily, who leads our in-house investigations team. Don't take matters into your own hands by trying to install snooping programs on phones or GPS trackers. That can cause unneeded stress and give you inaccurate results. Go with the professionals at Emerging Investigations. We have proven results and tremendous testimonials from our satisfied customers. Call for a free consultation and we can discuss how we can help. Peace of mind is as valuable as bad news. Just go to our website, emerginginv.com, or call 813-291-FACT. That's emerginginv.com. We're Emerging Investigations. We get results in life's biggest matters.
Guys, let me tell you about Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Are you experiencing low sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, and you just don't feel like you have the vitality you once had? You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well. Do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability. Not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling.
Pure Sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com, and the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES Lawgroup.com. If you have been involved in a car accident and your car was totaled and you did not get the amount of money to replace your car, they didn't give you the value, the NADA value or the Blue Book value of your car, well, you most likely have a case and you can recover thousands of dollars from your insurance agency. And it doesn't have, even if it was a few years ago, you might still have a case. So no reason to not call the folks at the Jeeves Law Group. It's one of the things they do really, really well. That's JEEVES Lawgroup.com, JeevesLawGroup.com. We'll tell you this. Insurance companies do not like it when you're represented by Jeeves Law Group because they are ferocious in advocating for you, and we'll get a bigger settlement. You get a better settlement. So if you're involved in an auto accident, it's the Jeeves Law Group. They also do class action lawsuits, a lot more than just personal injury. So if you have any issues at all, call the great folks at the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES Lawgroup.com.
Let me put this back on here right there. Get my camera back on. Couple other, I want to get some of the feedback in here from you guys from today. There's a couple good ones that I wanted to get to. Joe F., we were talking about Colin Cowherd. He said he also talks crap about Tampa, saying we are a small market and have no money here because he used to live here. Yeah, that was 25 years ago, Colin.
He did
update your profile.
He did mention how he covered this team yesterday for like 2 years.
The Bucs.
Yeah, and he did not have good things to say.
Yeah, well,
about the area. And he lives in his Los Angeles bubble.
It's 25 years ago.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe 30 years ago when he was here. I mean, and just this place has completely changed tremendously. So if you have, it's okay to have a perception of an area, but if you haven't been there forever, shut the F up. Joab says the play calling is horrible, but why isn't Brady changing the play? Exactly. Peyton and other great quarterbacks would go against their OC all the time. Why doesn't he just change it and say this is a garbage call?
Because he's too nice.
No.
What do you mean?
Not too nice.
I told you, LaShawn McCoy, who was on that Super Bowl team, said that Tom Brady, is not my words, it's his words, is too nice sometimes. And even though he knows the play isn't going to work, he'll go, okay, coach, let's do it.
I think he got rid of that in his first year.
And they did after the bye week, and they started winning.
Yeah, but right now to say that this is all on Leftwich and Brady is very much running the offense. I mean, can you imagine Leftwich saying, "No, Tom, we're not going to do that. We're not going to." No, they capitulate to Tom on everything, and why wouldn't you with his knowledge of the game? But at some point,
where's the knowledge going at the moment?
Exactly. But at some point, you have to have different eyes on it and have a different perception of what's going on. And right now, Brady needs help. And how the hell that they don't go down the hallway and get Bruce Arians to jump in,
please,
and get in on these meetings and start giving some consulting, because I've been told that he doesn't have any input. And I think that's crazy.
Todd Bowles needs it, actually.
Yes, he
does. Because Todd Bowles,
I think you're talking about nice guys. I think Arians is like, I don't want to say anything. I don't want to get involved. It's your team.
He loves Todd Bowles and he loves Byron Leftwich. Right. I don't think, my opinion, Byron Leftwich, I don't think is as, for lack of a better term, in the bed with Leftwich and, Keith Armstrong and some of these other coordinators like Arians is. Those are like his sons, I feel like. He feels like. And I feel like to me, the reason why Bowles needs Arians badly right now, because this is his last chance.
Mm-hmm.
This is his last chance as a head coach.
Right.
It ain't coming again. And this year with
things
Brady,
ain't getting better after this
things
year.
ain't getting better after you. They're going to get worse because this is Brady's last year. So if you're Todd Bowles, you have to make the decisions quick right now. What do I want to do?
Yeah, and you got to have all hands on deck. J.C. Cornell texted and said, but tweeted out. So I will say this one last time this week: the Buccaneers are not in good hands with Todd Bowles and Byron Leftwich. We're wasting the best player in the history of the NFL's potential last season. Tom Brady deserves better. Look, I don't think Bowles and Leftwich are. I don't think this team looks well coached, especially on Sundays. But Tom Brady, to absolve Tom Brady of this, again, he can change the call at the line of scrimmage. He can throw the ball to Mike Evans if he wants to. He's the one who decides how many targets players get. It's who's open, and he missed Mike Evans a lot this week. Go look at the all 22. There are such curious decisions that he's making. I think everybody's failing, but to put it all on Bowles and Leftwich, I mean, look, at the end of the day, it goes to the top. It's Todd Bowles. So I agree with that. But to absolve Brady like he's just a foot soldier out there is ridiculous. That dude has all the control over the offense. He's got the ball in his hands. He's the mate, and he is not playing well. And there are other extenuating circumstances, but I don't think when you put it all on those coaches and say Tom Brady's a victim of this, no.
He's not a victim.
No, I don't say that. I don't see that at all. All right, so let's hit some of these. This is from his podcast last night, the Let's Go podcast, on why the offense is struggling.
And it's a big challenges with different things that come up, and you have to be able to adjust and adapt every single week. We just have not found our rhythm at all on offense. We're not scoring in points. We're not playing well in the red area. We've been very inconsistent on third down. The game is about points. It's not about yard, time of possession. All those things factor in, but the deciding factor in every game, and this is to point out the complete obvious, is points. Did you score more points than the other team? And in 3 games we have, another 3 games we haven't. Even in the 3 games we won, we haven't played the way we're capable, certainly offensively. So, we've all are kind of licking our wounds, looking at the last 6 weeks and trying to do a lot better, having more communication about things that we think we need to do moving forward. And it's going to be a big challenge. We have a big challenge ahead of us. Things don't magically just solve themselves. Things have to become solved. You have to put the right time and emphasis into the things in order to improve them. And we got a lot of work to do. So a lot of football left to be played, 11 games, but we're certainly nowhere close to where the team that we want to be yet.
Okay. How to correct things, Tom? How are we going to do this?
Let's go. Presented. It's hard to win a game in the NFL, and they're paying the guys on the other side too. So it's not like they're out there playing for free. But it's the penalties, I think, and it's the errors and the mental errors that seem to be a bit uncharacteristic. How do you correct those midseason?
I think what is just a pure, and I see this when I'm watching, just a lack of execution. When you watch let's say a poor football game, and let's use the last 2 Thursday night games as an example. There have not been great football games, and you go, why have they not been great? Because they look sloppy. And they look sloppy. Well, what does that look like? It looks like unforced errors, things that should be routine plays that aren't being made, and then you have penalties, which is always a frustration. Then you have, let's say, on offense, it would be easy penalties or, balls that should be completed that aren't completed. A lot of punts is sloppy. And I think that's what you're looking at when you watch us play quite a bit lately. Too many punts, too many missed opportunities for points. 2 2-point plays now, one against Green Bay, one against Pittsburgh that, we didn't have the opportunity to complete. We just messed them up. So, we just have not played the style that we've wanted to play. And I think there's a lot of soul searching. We all, every game you sit there and all you do is think about all the things you did wrong. All you do all night is toss and turn and then if I made that play. And that's just what you live with. And unfortunately, you're the man in the arena. You got to step back out there and go do it again. And no one's going to make it any easier the next week. And if you want to change from a loss to a win in the next week, you got to make the right improvements, improve the areas that allow you to win, and hopefully learn from the losses. You learn from what we didn't do well last time, and you go and you focus your time and energy and your attention on the things that you haven't done consistently well in order to change the outcome.
The execution and all those things. Again, I just don't see him taking a lot of blame for any of this.
A lot of his answers, it's just, he could teach a course on how to say a lot without saying anything.
I know.
I mean, a lot of it there. I mean, all he does is tell you the issues, and it's like, you just want to know why. Just give me why.
Right.
And you don't get why.
You don't get why. He says they didn't have a chance to complete those passes. What do you mean? Because there's a missed assignment?
I think. Well, hold up. I think Scott did a great job of breaking down that play, and we watched the play before the show today. I mean, Mike Evans was a non-factor. Fournette's a non-factor. Otten's a non-factor.
Do you honestly think that on a play, on the 2-point play, that Tom Brady's going to get that play and go, oh, this is a terrible play? You think that Tom Brady hasn't told Byron Leftwich what to call on a 2-point conversion?
So you think he called that play?
Of course he did. 1,000% he did. Do people really believe that Tom Brady is going to take on the most important play of the game, is going to take a play that he doesn't like and run it? You're out of your mind. You're out of your mind. What do you people? I respect what Scott said about the play, but I think to throw all of this on Leftwich is crazy. Tom Brady is not going to run a play that he doesn't like in that situation.
I guess
no way.
I can't get there mentally then of why that would be his play if that is what he wants to do.
Because he trusts Godwin, number one, and Otten has got to get a better rub on that linebacker. And another thing, Devin Bush made a hell of a play on that. He made a hell of a play. And here's the other thing, maybe. I don't know, but to tell me that Tom Brady is going to run a play in that situation that he doesn't like, no way. He has way too much control of this offense. You guys think that he's just getting a game plan and going, okay, sure. No, he and Leftwich make these game plans, and they have been doing it for the past 3 years for the most part with input from Bruce Arians. And they're not getting any input from Bruce Arians, and maybe that's part of the problem. And listen, the offensive line is part of the problem. The receivers have dropped balls. That's part of the problem. But there's so many parts of the problem. But to think that he's going to take a 2-point play from Byron Leftwich that he doesn't like and not change the play, I can't buy that. I can't buy that. We don't have time for it anymore. Although I was going to run the one for his outburst on the sideline. Should we run that? Or not?
No, but hold on. We're holding it.
Yeah, that's
you might. Well, let me give me a little second here to cue that one up.
Because this was, one of the things just kind of felt hollow for me is, again, when you're not showing up at the walkthrough on Saturday morning, when you're not with your team, and then you're going to the sideline and ripping your offensive line. I'm glad that he did it. But I just think there's, like the guy said on Get Up this morning, guys that have played the game, you're going to look at the guy with a little bit of side eye. You just go, even if he's the GOAT.
And touchdowns. So that was not one of my better days. But F-bombs usually don't make it. They used to kind of keep you from, showing you in those moments. But now it's kind of for the world to see. So that's just the way it is.
And how do the guys take it when it's happening in that moment?
It's all good. I think I have a great rapport with all my teammates, and they know that the only reason why I'm doing it is to try to motivate them and try to get us to a higher level. It's nothing that I don't say, if I don't feel like we're living up to the expectations and playing up to the expectations that we're capable, then that's my job. I'm a quarterback. I'm not expecting the right tackle to do it. I'm not expecting the running back to do it. I'm not expecting the receiver to do it. I'm expecting myself to do it. I'm the one out there speaking in the huddle, calling the plays. That's what my job is, to try to get us going and to try to rally us. And there's a lot of ways to do it. And sometimes it's some positive encouragement, which you do a lot. Sometimes it's, getting on people and trying to raise the level, the sense of urgency, and raising my voice and trying to create a different vibration for the whole offense. And that's ultimately what you're trying to do.
And I love that. I love that about Brady. I love that about him. But the reason he's always had the gravitas to do that is because he's the ultimate preparation guy. He's always there. He's prepping more than anybody else. And then when you're not there, this kind of, it doesn't have the same effect.
Well,
it looks different.
But you're looking at it from the standpoint, he can't do that because he went to the wedding and this and that. I mean, the question is, did or did they not deserve that? What he did?
Absolutely.
100%. Because you want to know why? When Gadecki misses, when Hainsey misses, I'm actually meaning that. They miss.
I know.
Like, they don't even stand in the way.
It's like Tom said earlier. It's like, you're going to get somebody hurt.
Yeah, you're going to get somebody killed.
Namely me.
Okay, and that's part of the reason why this that's part of the reason why this offense is not really going anywhere.
Right.
Is because he knows that there's going to be a play or two or three in the game where those guys are going to completely whiff.
Again, when you do what he did, you leave yourself open for criticism.
Okay, I mean, but here's the thing too.
And that's controllable.
Here's the thing too.
And it's also stuff you've never ever done before in your career. And your entire winning formula is based on preparation and being better prepared than the other team. That's always been your calling card. It's like Pat Mahomes getting fat, or Lamar Jackson getting fat. Yeah.
Going to a wedding is
Patrick
Mahomes getting fat.
You have Lamar Jackson. It's like the way you win is because you're an unbelievable athlete. Your escapability, you extend plays, you can throw the ball down the field. That's it. If you get fat, you take that away, right? If you're not as quick anymore, you're looking at Russell Wilson, whose escapability is no longer what it used to be, and so the reason you have been successful is now muted, and the reason Brady has been successful is because he's the ultimate prep guy, and he knows everything, and you're not that guy. If you're not the Saturday walkthroughs, you can say whatever. I'm sorry. The team sees you're not there. You're not there. I'm sorry. It's not acceptable. Peyton Manning would never do it. He shouldn't have done it. And that's it.
You're evil on Brady right now.
Just calling it like I see it. I'm not beholden to him. Although I get, he's winning football. Great guy, super. The greatest there ever played.
I mean, hell, what have I done? I've completely waffled on this subject anyway.
Listen, here's what it is. All right, our thanks to TJ Rives, Erik Erlendsson, and the great Scott Reynolds all joined us today. If you missed anything, go back and check it out on YouTube. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube page. You can watch the show each and every day there. We're 2 hours Tampa Bay sports-centric sports talk each and every day. So tell all your friends, tell your enemies, retweet our stuff. We really appreciate that. And we will be back tomorrow with more fun and frivolity with the story of the Lightning's big win over the Flyers. Opening night. We'll see you there tonight. 7 o'clock puck drop. Get in your seats by 6:30. 6:30, big pregame show. Don't miss it. We'll see you there.